Hello everyone, this is Highlander with MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review. And today I am reviewing another card by Suleman. Here we have a Planeswalker. Okay, Planeswalker playing with fire. Let's see how you do, Suleman. Alright, so we got Spiral Timedancer. She's a samurai, a futuristic samurai with 6 arms. That's a lot of armpits, man. She probably has to go through a lot of deodorant. That's a lot of armpits. I guess this one's a middle armpit, but these ones are not. Look at that. Armpit there, armpit there, armpit there. Where's this arm? Like, how does this work biologically? Do the extra arms help? I guess so. Extra arms is probably useful. All right, well, anyway. Okay, this is a 4-mana Planeswalker. Spiral. You may look at the bottom card of your library at any time. You may play instant and sorcery cards from the bottom of your library. Scry 2. Until your next turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a loyalty counter on Spiral Timedancer. Put target non-land permanent to the bottom of its owner's library. That player then draws a card. Okay. So you can look at the bottom card of your library at any time. You may play instant and sorcery cards from the bottom of your library. Instant and sorcery cards. Scry 2. Until your next turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a loyalty counter on Spiral Timedancer. -3. Put target non-land permanent. Okay, this needs a little bit of rewording because the wording here is kind of throwing me off. So let me just rewrite this one. You may look at the bottom. Is it bottom card or top card? Let's take a look at Oracle of Mold. No, that one's revealed. What's a card that does this recently? Oh, I'm gonna have to search. You may look at the top card anytime. Here we go, Agarvatum. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Okay, so it is top card. You may look at the bottom card of your library at any time. You may play instant and sorcery cards from the bottom of your library. Okay, 0. Scry 2. Until your next turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a loyalty counter on Spiral Timedancer. Okay, that's fine. And then, okay, this is the one that throws me off. Okay, the owner of target non-land permanent puts it on the bottom of their library. Actually, that might not be the proper way to word this. Let's take a look at Time Ebb. Put target creature on top of its owner's library. Okay, so you don't need to do... I think you only need to do it the way I'm saying if they get a choice of the top or the bottom. So let's see. Put target non-land permanent on the bottom of its owner's library. Then that player draws a card. Okay. Okay, so how good is this card? Well, this, in an instant sorcery heavy deck, this is a very strong static ability right here. the fact that it's limited to instant sorceries is good. It's a good thing because it's not like Future Sight where you can just go off and play a bazillion cards, but you know, you can run hot and do some stuff. Plus, every time you cast a thing, you get a loyalty counter on Spiral. And this lets you put a non-land permanent on the bottom of its owner's library, and then they get to draw a card. So you don't get card advantage here, but you do get to remove a permanent from the board. I do like that that's -3. It doesn't actually really work with your own stuff. Because like you can't recast it. You can't cast permanents. You can only cast instant sorceries. So you're really only doing this on your opponent's stuff. I mean, this card seems pretty good. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, put a loyalty counter on Spiral Timedancer. This card seems pretty good. I mean, if you're playing like a heavy spells deck, I mean, you're gonna rack up loyalty counters. I think. I mean, you're getting probably 1 or 2 per turn. And then, yeah, I mean, this card seems, I think, pretty fair. Honestly, this is the strongest part of the card, I believe. If your deck is just loaded with instant sorceries, this can get you a lot of value. And it also gets you loyalty counters. So I do kind of like that this gets rid of something, but they draw. That's kind of a nice little touch. It kind of makes this a little bit more fair. So I think balance wise, this card's okay. I do have a slight issue with this card, and that is this whole bottom of your library thing. I know it's like kind of cute and a little unique to do that, but it just like it doesn't feel like it really needs to be that. Like if you're not really doing anything clever with the bottom of the library here. Like, yeah, I get that scrying, you can put things on the bottom, you know, but the problem is like, so there's a couple issues. First, people are very used to scrying like cards to the top that they want, right? And this kind of like turns that upside down, literally, where you now have to take the cards that you do want to cast and put them on the bottom, or find cards that you don't want and put them on the bottom, but then that makes her static ability worse. Okay, that's kind of interesting, actually. So basically, you scry. You want to put any instant sorceries on the bottom so that you're drawing then, like, whatever, non-instant. So you want to play heavy instant sorceries with this, right? You want to put instant sorceries on the bottom of your library, and that means you're going to be drawing, like, lands and, you know, maybe a couple other things, artifacts or something. The thing that kind of sucks is if you scry those to the bottom and they kill this, like, that kind of sucks. Like, you've put, like, imagine you scry 2 instant sorceries to the bottom of your deck and then they, like, kill this thing. And you're like, oh, well, now I'm drawing lands. But that, I think that's minor. Okay, so it's somewhat interesting. It kind of hurts your brain to think about because you're so used to, like, putting things on top that you want. And that's kind of like where I was going, is like you have to sort of like put yourself in a completely different mind space for this, which is kind of interesting. How different would this card be if everything was top of the library? So if this was like, you can look at the top card of your library at any time, you could play instant sorcery cards from the top of your library, and then everything else was the same. How different would that be? So if you see something that you want, you leave it on top. If it's an instant sorcery, leave it on top. If you see something you don't want, you put it on the bottom. And then you basically immediately get to, if you put an instant sorcery on top, you get to cast it. So you get to kind of line things up really nicely there. So I think if you do that, it makes this card a little bit stronger, because not only do you get to sculpt your draws, you also get to set up this instant and sorcery thing. Doing it from the bottom again. Let me just rethink that again, because it's so hard to wrap your head around this because it's like so different. If you okay, so let's say you scry your scry 2, you see a land and an instant sorcery. I guess you could put the land on the bottom first and then the instant sorcery on the bottom. And then you cast the instant sorcery from the bottom. So in that sense, it's actually not that much different. If you see 2 instant sorceries, you put them both on the bottom. That's not really very, very different. If you see no instant sorceries, then you either keep them on top if you want to draw them, or you put them on the bottom. It's actually not really that different, to be honest. It's really not that different. I would probably say, like, I know that this is like kind of cute and it's a little bit different, but I think that just for simplicity's sake, you might as well just stick with the tried and true top of the library. Like, I don't think that this bottom of the library thing is quite clever. It's not like I've seen other people do this type of thing where it's like, oh, you can cast things from the bottom of your library, and it kind of interacts with scry, so it's kind of cute. But like, I still haven't seen anybody do anything that like makes that really work, that makes it like actually interesting, you know. Like here it's like slightly different than putting it on top, but like barely. And it's like that small slight difference is not a big enough payoff for the additional complexity you're adding of making people think completely differently about how to play this card. Like, that is kind of a cool thing to do, making people think differently about how to play cards. But like, again, I haven't seen anything that makes me go, oh, that's cool. You know, it's cool because it interacts, you know, this way or that way. I just don't see that, you know. So at least not on this card. So yeah, I think that this card would probably be served better to just make this top of the library, and that's that. You know, just make it top of the library. I think that's just, it's just simpler. People understand how the card works a lot faster. They get it. They don't have to think super hard, and there's not a huge payoff for doing it the other way. So that's my opinion on this bottom of the library stuff. If you know of an example of a bottom of the library card that somebody's made that like really like catches your attention and go, wow, that's cool, let me know. I'd love to see it. But so far I've seen other cards do bottom of the library, and I haven't seen anything that really wows me yet. So okay, so rating. I think the card's pretty balanced. I think it's strong, but I think it's fair. Of course, it's always hard to say with Planeswalkers until you actually see them in play. But I think this card's fair. This needs to be reworded a little bit, and I do think you should switch to top of the library here. So with those 2 knocks against it, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I think with those 2 changes, I think this is a fine card. Oh, and I also don't like the art because it's just a weird style that doesn't really fit in Magic. Also, the other thing that's a little strange here is that this is a blue planeswalker who's doing wizardy things, but she's like a samurai with a sword. It doesn't quite strike me as like. She looks more like a white creature that attacks, you know. So I don't know. I think the art's also not great. But yeah, I think 7 out of 10. I think a couple changes. This would be a totally fine card, but it's a couple issues that make me sort of wish it were a little different. So anyway, that's my review of Spiral Timedancer. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know you will, Jadefire. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time.